What's up you guys, I'm Eric and welcome back to my channel. No, you grow up. Disclaimer before we get into this video, I'm just getting over the flu. I probably could have waited till I sounded a little bit better to work on this video, but I literally did nothing for almost 2 days straight, so I really wanted to start working on this. So if I don't sound like my normal chipper self, that's why. I had actually started working on this video right before I got sick, and I'm kind of happy that I didn't get it finished beforehand, because as I pretty much just laid around and did nothing for 2 days, I kind of had a good idea on how to expand this. What was originally going to be one video is now going to be 3 videos. So what I want to go over today is kind of a history of the NECA TMNT Toon line from when it started up until right now. So in this video, I only plan on covering figures that have been released up to this point. I do plan on covering figures that have been shown off at San Diego Comic-Con or teased in another video. So with all that stuff out of the way, let's get rolling on this video. We're going to glance at this right now, and we're going to come back to this spreadsheet at the end and do a really deep dive into it, but this is kind of the main reason why I wanted to make these videos. I wanted to look at kind of the history of these waves and the figures that have been released in each wave, and then kind of take a look at when they appeared in the animated series to see if we can kind of get some like rhyme or reason to their release orders and stuff like that. So these waves are arbitrary. I decided them on my own. I think they were official towards the beginning of the line, and then after that everything just kind of started coming out in clusters. But for this, I kind of just looked back at my own sales records from like the NECA store or Target, or my own receipts that I could find and stuff like that. So this is not at all official. You don't have to agree with the way I have things organized here, but it's just the way I organized it so that way I can make the most sense out of it. This line was kind of unofficially started as a Comic-Con exclusive pack. This is what NECA offered as their Comic-Con exclusive in 2017, and this pack came with all 4 of the original Turtles in the Toon colors, Shredder, Krang and his Bubble Walker, and then 2 foot soldiers. These figures, however, would be the base for the first wave of the retail line as well. And that's what we're going to actually count as the beginning of this line. So in 2019, the Comic-Con exclusive set was broken up into 2 packs and released at Target. So the 2 packs were Leo and Shredder, Don and Krang, Mikey and a foot soldier, and Raph and a foot soldier. And then a little bit after these first 4 packs were released, they released Bebop and Rocksteady as well, giving us our first original figures in this retail line. In late 2019 and early 2020, the second wave was released, and this was just a remix of the first wave. So the Turtles were re-released, but they were given a different deco, and this is what's referred to as the Style Guide Turtles, as opposed to the first release, which are the Toon accurate darker green Turtles. The pairings were changed up for this wave as well, so we got Leo and Don together, and Raph and Mikey together in 2 packs, and then we got Shredder and Krang, and then a foot soldier 2-pack in this wave. So between the second and third waves hitting, something happened in early 2020 that I'm sure we all know about that kind of turned the collecting world upside down. So wave 3 would hit right when all this was starting to ramp up, and I would say that NECA was definitely overwhelmed by the demand for these figures and probably never would have expected their line to blow up the way that it did going forward. Wave 3 would give us the Casey and Slash foot soldier 2-pack, April and Bash foot soldier 2-pack, and then the Leatherhead and Slash 2-packs. Wave 4 would hit in fall of 2020 and gave us 2 packs of Trag and Granitor, Roadkill Rodney and Triceraton Infantrymen, Xerax and Zork, and our first Ultimates figure, which was Metalhead. Up to this point, every figure that we have gotten in the line has came from the first 4 seasons of the animated series. Xerax, Zork, and the Triceraton Infantrymen came from season 7, so I would label these as the first deep cut in the line. Yes, Triceratons have notoriety from other iterations like the Mirage comics, but we'll touch more on this towards the end of the video. Wave 5 hit right around Christmas time in 2020 and would roll into 2021, and this is where the line really started to ramp up in production. And I don't want to say that the figures were peg warming, but this is when they started to at least sit on shelves for a while, and I feel like they were starting to figure out what their actual demand point was. This wave would give us 2 packs of Splinter and Fly Baxter, Rat King and Vernon, Rasputin and Genghis Frog, and then it would give us Ultimates of Krang and his android body, and the Ultimate Foot Soldier pack, which I'm going to kind of count as Alpha 1 in this. NECA also hit us with new turtle molds, and we got our Turtles in Disguise 4-pack in this wave as well. These molds were a huge improvement on the first ones, and we'd end up seeing them later down the line as well. So this is when official release order kind of gets confusing, because for Wave 6, or what I'm considering Wave 6, this is when NECA finally started doing open pre-orders on their own site. So for the rest of this list, I'm going to base things off when they opened up pre-orders as opposed to when things were actually hitting retail shelves, because I wasn't really paying attention then because I already had them pre-ordered. I know a lot of people complained about the $15 shipping from NECA, but I would pay that $15 all day to not have to go out every day looking for these figures, wasting my own money on gas, which ends up being a lot more than that $15 when everything's said and done anyway. Wave 6 gave us 2 packs of Ace Duck and Mutagen Man, and Anthrax and Scumbug, and then it also gave us Ultimate characters that were technically 2 packs as well, with Mondo and Kerma, and Muckman and Joe Eyeball. It would also give us 1 more Ultimate in this wave, with the Pizza Monsters, which are some of my favorites. I'm also going to throw the Channel 6 4-pack in this wave as well. Wave 7 is on the smaller side for one of the modern waves, but it's definitely one of my favorites. We got 3 2-packs with Ground Chuck and Dirtbag, Wingnut and Screw Loose, and we finished off the Punk Frogs with Napoleon and Attila. We got Chrome Dome as the only Ultimate figure from this wave, but he's definitely one of the best ones. Wave 8 would start out very interestingly with giving us our Mouser Army Builder packs, and then we would end up getting 2 packs of Zack and Smash, Rock Soldier Infantrymen, and then Crooked Ninja Turtle Goons. We would also get our first 3-pack of the Neutrinos. It would also give us not only the best Ultimate figure, but my favorite figure in the entire line, Miyamoto Usagi. We were given not 1 but 2 Target Haulathon events in 2022, and I'm just going to kind of lump all the remainder of these figures into what I consider to be Wave 9, even though they kind of all hit at different times. But with this wave, we were given our new Turtles 4-pack, which were the previously released new molds just without the disguise gear, and they were done in the Style Guide colors, which I actually do prefer. These are definitely my favorite NECA Turtles. We were also given our first variant figure in this line with the glow-in-the-dark Ultimate Muckman figure, and we were given 2 packs of Super Bebop and Mighty Rocksteady, and the controversial Toka and Razar 2-pack, which became very readily available in the fall. I'm also lumping in the Premutation Comic-Con exclusive pack in this wave, and then the last figures that I need to mention are the Loot Crate exclusives, which are the Dark Turtle, Scrag, and then Bunny, Bebop, and Rocksteady. Alright, now that we've gone over a brief history of the release order of these figures, let's take a deeper look at these spreadsheets. So again, this is kind of an arbitrary listing. I kind of just went off when I ordered these figures, not necessarily when they actually hit store shelves. So I do have some more arbitrary rules I set when compiling this data. So when I'm totaling up these figures, I'm not going to count turtles more than once, and I'm not going to count figures that have multiple variants like Muckman. I'm just going to count him as 1 figure. And I'll consider the Vernon that came with Rat King, the Rat variant, and then the version that came in the Channel 6 pack is the regular Vernon. Irma's only going to get counted as 1 figure though, because you had to buy 2 of the Channel 6 packs to get both versions of her, so I don't really count that as 2 different figures. You can agree or disagree with any of this. This is just what I did for myself to help myself organize my thoughts and make sense of this. It's not official. My opinion is not any more important than yours, so you don't have to attack me if you don't agree with any of this stuff. But if we take a look here, I have the waves divided into 2 halves, and we can kind of count waves 1 and 2 as the same, since they are the same figures for the way I'm looking at this. So we essentially have 4 waves on each half of this. If we look at the first 4 waves, it's very easy to see that other than the Triceratons, everything came from the first 4 seasons, and they really exhausted those popular characters right off the bat. Looking at the second 4 waves that were released, you can tell they started adding in more of these later seasons characters, and we're getting a lot more characters from seasons 5 and 7 thrown in. I'm going to consider everything that was seasons 1 through 5 to kind of be the peak of the Turtles franchise, and everything that happened later to either kind of be in the twilight or the dead years of the franchise. Most people would agree that this franchise peaked in 1991. It definitely started to fizzle a bit in 92, and I would consider 93 to kind of be like the twilight year of the Turtles. After 93, I would say the show pretty much took a nosedive, and every season that happened afterwards was part of the Red Sky seasons, and I don't even really consider those to be a part of the original run, even though they officially are. So if we take a look at these totals here and look at the line up to this point, we have 27 figures from Season 1, 10 from Season 2, 8 from Season 3, 3 from Season 4, 13 from Season 5, 0 from Season 6, and 8 from season 7. So outside of the 8 season 7 characters, every single figure that they've put out in this line has came from the peak of this franchise. Yes, there are figures that can be argued as deep cuts here. Like, I definitely feel like Alpha 1 can be a deep cut. I think you can consider Toka and Razar from this Toon iteration to be deep cuts as well. I didn't even know they were actually in the cartoon until I was an adult. It's hard to really argue what is or isn't a deep cut. Like most kids, my interest in the cartoon kind of fell off around 93. And most of the time that I saw this cartoon anyway, it was from the VHS tapes that I had, so I pretty much just watched the same 30 or so episodes over and over and over again. And those are the characters that really stuck out to me, so I probably will have more bias in some characters. Like Pizza Monsters were only in one episode, but they're some of the most important characters to me because that's one of the VHS tapes I had, and it was one that I watched a ton of times as it was one of my favorites. I feel like this character selection has been crucial in the success of this line. They have not given us anything from the Red Sky seasons, and honestly, I think that would be one of their first stumbles, is I'm not even going to touch anything from those seasons if they ever do put them out, and I bet there's a lot of other collectors that probably have the same mind state on that. I do plan on covering all the figures that are on the horizon for this line in another video, but just talking about them in general real quick, it is a lot more of the deeper cuts that seem to be coming, and at this point, this is where they've earned that. By giving us all the staple characters in the first 4 years of this line, anybody that's in at this point is just in it for the deep cuts. All the people that wanted all their fan favorite characters from their childhood have gotten those now. All of us that are still in this line going forward just want all these really obscure characters to help round out that world that the animated series built. I couldn't be happier to get the obscure characters that we're about to get from this line or have already gotten, but these have to come after the staple characters, and any intelligent line is built that way. NECA has done the best job of character selection that I think they possibly could have done, and there's hardly any changes that I would make if I was running this line. The depth of this line is why it's one of my favorites to collect, and I couldn't be happier that NECA is going to keep going even after all the heavy hitters have been done. Alright you guys, so that's going to wrap things up for this one. Again, the next 2 videos that are going to come out, one of them is going to be the follow-up to this one, which is going to be all the shown off or teased or announced figures that are coming in this line. I'm going to kind of discuss this thing similar to how I did in this one about those figures. And then also I plan on doing a separate video that's similar with Super 7, but that's going to be all in one since that line is so much thinner than the NECA line is. That's really the main reason that I wanted to do this series of videos that was originally going to be one video, is I wanted to compare the releases between NECA and Super 7 and just how they've both gone about them in very different ways. Clearly I was a big fan of the way NECA had done things, and at the beginning I was with Super 7 too, and we're kind of going to get into more details on that for that video, so I won't spoil too much now, so I'll end things here. So thank you to all the subscribers for sticking around, watching all my videos, commenting, liking, all that jazz. Again, it's just very awesome that you guys are into this and that you're sticking around, and I couldn't be happier to have everybody here that I do. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. I'm very happy to have you guys here. I hope you enjoy my content. That's all I really got for you guys in this one, so take it easy, be safe, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.